Let's go back to the gangsters. How did they operate? Were they...
Oh, the Armenian Gangsters?
Yeah, were they under the radar, or do you see them strong-arm people? Or hello, welcome to the podcast. This is Not For Radio. We are your host, Dunc and Hyde. This is Jay Reeve over there. Caution, this podcast will contain some swearing. It's great to have you back for another week and an interview that I have been looking forward to for an entire week.
Yes, we caught up with Milan Borich from Pluto fame and a bunch of other things. He was a child acting star, a recovering drug addict, a heroin addict, and an incredible story, open and honest. Black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, now owns his own... I don't know what you'd call it, dojo or center or a place where people go and...
Gym.
Yeah, gym. There it is. It was really, really cool, but we didn't quite get through everything that we wanted to ask him, so he graciously said that he would come back. And on top of that, at the end of the chat that we had with him today, he said, I've got some of the dual vinyls that I would like to, give you guys to give away to people as well. So feeding the backs is what we do on this. All of the details will be at the end of the chat. I know that you're going to love it. We catch up with him now as we go back over a couple of things that we missed, and then he takes us to LA where the pandemonium ensues.
Yeah, things get pretty spicy in his 3 years in LA. Like, he's just awesome. If you haven't listened to the one from last week, make sure you go back and listen to it, and then listen to this one. Massive thanks to Jim Beam, best enjoyed together since 1795. This podcast would not be possible without them. From backyard get-togethers to the post-match bevy, raise a glass of good times and great company with a bourbon that's best enjoyed together. Enjoy the podcast.
You're listening to Jay and Dunc, and they are ripping and a tearing of your ear holes. This is Not For Radio.
Oh, mate.
Oh, he was just so nice. We had to do it twice. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks
Milan
for having
Borich.
me
How are
again.
you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm really good.
Bro, I've legitimately been looking forward to this the whole week. Like,
Yeah.
This is 100% going to be my favourite day of the week because the chat last week just resonated massively. Like, geez, the Not For Radio listeners loved it.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
And a bunch of people too, Northern Hemisphere people that were unfamiliar with your musical work to this point, and they're like, fucking have a go.
I literally got sent, I won't drag it up, but one of our listeners here was like, how have I fucking missed the whole Pluto train?
Yeah.
He goes, I'm lying in bed at the moment while the wife's watching Coronation Street. We've got the dog between us, and I'm listening to Dance Stamina. I said, you got to listen to Dance Stamina if you're going to start somewhere sort of thing. And then he sent me a picture back, and it's legitimate. There's a TV on the background, his dog there, and he's like holding up the phone, like, eh. I was like, that's so bizarre. The podcast could. So there's going to be some new fans of the music for sure, which is awesome.
That's really nice. Nice to hear.
It is a body of work that you sort of created quite some time ago now, and I don't know what the how often you would revisit it and how often you would play it and how often, like, I can't imagine, or maybe I'm completely wrong, you just slap a piece of wax on and you just have a listen back to it and you go, I fucking did that.
Sometimes I do, especially with my own kind of like demos and stuff that wasn't released. I will listen back to it and go, fuck, I'm actually pretty clever, and then I realize that I'm being a dick. So, and I'm also talking to myself. So now I've just, spoken that to the world, and it's like, whoops. But yeah, no, I do pat myself on the back sometimes, yeah.
As an artist, like when, for example, Pipeline Under the Ocean, amazing album, and we'll get to what that period was like for you in a couple of moments. But when you listen back to that now, because a musician, in theory, will continue to get better and better and better throughout their lifetime.
Yep.
When you listen to a record like that the general public was like when they loved it, it was received really well. Do you listen to those songs and go, they're finished, or I would do them differently now?
There are a couple that I would do differently. Not the successful ones, especially not like Long White Cross or Dance Stamina. They were over time and they were done very well. But there are a couple of tracks on that record that we still believe, Tim and I still believe that we could have done a lot better. I'm not going to name which song it is, but it's quite obvious when you listen to the record. I mean, I'll see if you guys can pull out that one, from listening to it, But yeah, there are a couple that we could have done a lot better. Yeah, and the difference was, I think, there was we did it in two segments. So we had the first segment, which was done at Revolver, and then we did another group of songs that were done like a Helen Young and somewhere else. I can't quite remember. And so that was the way that, and then we kind of collated it all together and then made the record. So that was a really good way of doing it. And we kind of also wish that we did that with the third record, but that's another story.
Do you think an artist or a band would ever, say if you had, I don't know, I'm just thinking of an album like Californication, and then you listen to we'll go Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yep.
It's a moment in time. If all those band members were still alive, would a band ever go back and reimagine the songs? You know, the lyrics stay the same, but the musical parts have been slightly reworked, like another twist for a re-release. No one's ever really done that.
Not really. I mean, if you can get into the head of Kurt Cobain, I reckon he would just fucking hate doing that. Yeah, piss all over it. No, I don't think he even wanted to play it live anymore. Yeah. So I doubt they would have ever done that. And another band, any other band that would have done that, I don't know. I mean, if it was a band that felt that they needed to kind of revisit it because they had no other kind of content or no other, inspiration to write anything new, then possibly. But
it's like you're almost closing the chapter when the album's done, right?
100%. I mean, I'm of the ilk that once it's done, release it, it's over. And I just move on, go to the next thing.
Is it quite that we ask this question often, and I find it fascinating because you're going through the creative process and it's the conception, and then you mold it into something that you're really proud of, and then you record it, and then it's the finished version, and then you put it out, and then it's sort of handing it over to other people, and then they have their interpretation. It's just the same as in visual art. So the piece goes up on the wall, and you put all your time and effort into it, and people look at it and go, oh, well, I can see this, that, and the other thing. You sit and you go, that was fucking nothing even remotely close to what I did that for. And do you get a lot of that as well? Because people take the art that you make and tear off in a direction with it. I know even, for example, when Dance Stamina came out, like I don't think that you probably knew when you're writing the song that it would just become an everywhere hit. Like it was played in almost every single radio station other than an urban station, and it was like the soundtrack to people's lives for a fucking couple of summers, and it was played in bars, and it was played in places like the fucking Grumpy Mole. It was like, do you know that you've got that little magic in a bottle in terms of the commercial success, or is that sort of take the shine off the artistic process for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we did. I mean, when we were in the practice room writing that, I remember Mike Hall came in with this bass line, and we were like, wow, that's pretty good. It's a good groove. And then, Mike Franklin Brown put down the beat, and we're like, well, this is sounding very, very good. So the groove, it just had a certain energy that we knew we had something. Maybe a genie was there, and I don't know if it was going to come out of the bottle, but we thought we had something, and we were going to go with it, and we did it. And I didn't believe that, I didn't think at the time this is going to be a massive hit, although people around us were telling us it was going to be. So I just took it for what they said, and I just went with it. And I mean, I love the track, but did I know that it was going to be a hit? No, I did not. And at first, it wasn't actually a hit. Like, we released it, and it didn't actually take. So we're like, shit, what the fuck? It didn't work. Oh, my God.
That's what my friends are lying to me, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we're like, fuck, it didn't work, eh? And so then we got back, and we did Long White Cross, and we went and reimagined that, and then released that. And that took off, and then we went back and we re-released Dance Stamina, and then suddenly that just took off as well. So it took a fair amount of effort to get it going.
Because I think that I heard Dance Stamina at a Stolen Girlfriend show or a Huffer show prior to the album release. Like they played it, Marky had it, someone had it, and they fucking played it. And then that might have been even very vague memories. But where the Red Bull HQ used to be opposite the police station here now, that garage was the after party. And I think there was maybe up this, there was somewhere, it was around here anyway.
I mean, I will not have any recollection of any of that, but I'm glad I was there.
That was pre Long White Cross getting service to radio and getting service and us seeing it MTV.
Yeah.
But it was, and I was like, that's a fucking jam. Where are these guys from? And it's like, these guys. I was like, where are they from? And I'm like, here. Holy shit.
It was an interesting time for the band, though, and I think I mentioned this last week. Between 2001 and 2014, revenue from music here in New Zealand basically halved.
It did, yeah.
And when Pipeline Under the Ocean comes out, you guys are kind of in this weird position where the music industry was big and now it's shrinking massively with EMI. I think I read a quote from you somewhere saying it kind of felt like you were with a big label, but you didn't have the backing.
Yeah.
Right as you needed it as the band was blowing up. How was it for the band internally, and then how did you deal with that, because it's tricky?
Well, for the second record, for Pipeline of the Ocean, that actually did reasonably well. Like I think we did double platinum, and EMI did actually get that, off on the charts, and we actually kind of made an impact in the actual music world, and then it was post that record that everything sort of started winding down, and obviously streaming kind of platforms started coming in, and EMI really weren't taking that on board, and they were kind of had that old model in mind, and they didn't want to get rid of that old model, so they just hung on, they just hung on to that balloon for too long, didn't let go, and suddenly it was done, like the third record was an absolute fucking stinker.
Is it something that do you revisit that at all? That album, and you go, fuck.
Well, the problem with that record, like as I touched on before, like we should have done the same thing we did with Pipeline. We should have done like two kind of lots of recording. Like we did one big group of recording, and that was at Roundhead.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of like just hammered on that and kept on trying to like make that happen, instead of like stepping back and going, okay, wait a minute, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's write a couple more tracks. We might need a few more songs and re-record some songs and go do another session somewhere else, which we didn't do. And I think if we had done that, the album could have been stronger. Would it have been more successful? I don't know. I don't believe it would have been, but at least for us, we would have felt better about the record, listening back to it.
Do the boys have a bunch of selects that you just go, these that you've still got kind of kicking around, the unreleased stuff? I know there is chat about these coming out in the double vinyl, that you're like, man, I can't wait for these to be heard, because it was the same lightning in a bottle captured at the same time. It was all, for whatever reason, that track went on, this one didn't, but this is probably the one on reflection that probably should have been there, and now we've reversioned it, and it's sat with us for the best part of 20 years. Now we're ready to release it.
Yeah, there are definitely a few of those, especially for some of the other members as well. Like Hackney Town, which we have just released, which is was one of those unreleased tracks. That's like one that we should have put on the record. And then there's another one called Dean Martin, which was it's almost dedicated to my father, because he was a massive Dean Martin fan, and that also should have been on the record. And there are some really, really good tracks, even tracks that we haven't put on this double vinyl that will come out eventually, that I'm like, we're really good. So.
I mean, with all of the changes that we're talking about too, they're going to like a digital, like the digital revolution of the music industry, and some people hitting it and some people missing it, and now getting whatever it is, fucking 0.00001 of a cent for every spin or whatever it is. But now that you've got the full ownership of all of your stuff and being able to do things in a completely different way, and you could set up a fucking OnlyFans and run it in behind a subscription wall or whatever it is,
foot fetishes.
Yeah, there could be. There is the ability, because you already have the work, for you to release it on your own, under your own steam, in your own terms, and garner 100% of the revenue as a result of that. It's probably been, when it was happening at the time, was a shit fest, and everyone was a bit fucking concerned about what was happening. But now you can see the entire lay of the land, and you go, well, that works and that doesn't, and maybe we just go down this route.
Well, yeah. There's also other options now as well. I think there's another streaming platform that's coming out that's paying the artists in a better fashion. I'm not sure what it's called, but Mike Hall knows all about that. So there's a few people that are actually changing over to this other platform. But yeah, it's fantastic. We still get the revenue coming through. It comes through every month, and it's nice to see. Is it enough? For us, it is, because we don't really mind. I as I've always said to my bandmates, if I could play to a cactus, I don't really care who's there. I love playing music, so it's what my famous quote was, like, I could play to a cactus, I don't give a fuck.
Can we chat about 2009? So you guys, end of 2008, 2009, recording a fourth album, and then is it the fourth album that has the fucking horrendous technical glitch?
Yeah, the fourth album has a technical glitch. We lost it, and we lost all the files. We lost all the backup files. It was all gone.
How does that happen?
I think because we had it all on a hard drive, and then suddenly the hard drive just kind of vanished, and then no one knew where it was. And also at the time, I was struggling with my own personal problems, and then the band was also struggling with relationships, and interband relationships. And then suddenly it all kind of just set afire. Like it was a light, and it just all burnt to nothing. Like because of my own ego and the way I dealt with the relationships I had with the rest of the band members. Tim and I kind of separated ourselves from the rest of the band, which was unfortunate. There was, way better ways to deal with it, and to this day, that's one of my biggest regrets, is how that all kind of transpired and how the band kind of broke apart. And the album was lost. We never finished it, and it was just in the ether somewhere. And the band was kind of done. And then that was when I kind of decided to bail for LA. So yeah, I wish things went differently at the time, but it went the way that it did for all intensive purposes. I mean, there's a thing that Nietzsche says, it's like amor fati, which is like love of fate. So I believe in the love of fate, and that it all happens for a reason. So
because the band broke up via email, who sent the email?
Oh goodness me!
Fuck, have you still got that email?
I don't know. I haven't.
We had to
looked
make
at
for a
it.
It was
It was
Just an inside
far
the
out.
sleeve on the front of the album.
Just the worst decision of my life. Like it was in the heat of the moment. Like I really regret it. Like, and I was also quite amped up by. So I mean, if I can put it in perspective, I had already just gone to LA to meet up with Kenny McPherson, who was the head of Chrysalis Publishing, so in LA. And so I went and had a meeting with him, and I had all three Pluto records, and he loved me. We got on, we talked about football, and we're having this meeting, and we just got on like a house on fire. And sadly, he was just blowing smoke up my ass, like just telling me how great I was. And then I said, what do you think about these records? And he just got the records and he threw them to the side, and he said, I don't give a fuck about that shit. I care about what you're doing. I want to hear your solo stuff, and I want to hear what you're writing. And I was like, wow, okay, fuck. And so then I flew back home, and I sent him all my solo songs that I've been working on at the time. And he loved them, and he wanted to meet, and he wanted to sign me. And so that kind of like set the bar where I was. And I was like, well, fuck it. It's not working at the moment with the boys. I'm going to write an email with, I won't mention who else helped me there. But I did write an email, and it was fucking terrible. It was the worst thing I could have done. So, and
How quickly did you realise that was a mistake?
Immediately, because when I did it and sent it, one of the boys turned up on the doorstep of the house and was just like, what the fuck? And we had a like kind of face off together, and it was just a disaster. So and it still makes me quite emotional inside thinking about it and talking about it. And I don't really like talking about it because it just was a big mistake. I should have parked it, like everything in my life, especially with acting at the time back in the day. I should have parked that as well, and then just gone, okay, I'm going to park it here. It's all good. We're still together. We're not going to do anything at the moment. I want to go do my thing, and you guys do your thing. And that's how I should have dealt with it.
Yeah.
But I was just young, stupid, high, and I just believed the hype, so.
We have a very good friend of ours, Carl Williamson, Tiny. He had this great saying. It's like the man becomes a myth becomes a legend becomes the downfall, and that's where the learning is. And it's kind of like you just get you think you get told that you're something, and then you try and become that something, and then you're not that thing. So then it fucks out, and then everything falls apart, and then it's that gap in between the fuck out and where you actually land. It's where you actually learn all your. But you can't.
It's
get
a tough
that.
spot to be operating for growth.
Yeah, you don't get that. You don't get that bit without the fuck up, and that's the. It's like you said, that is the fate. Like all the best stuff that I think that I've learned, and I'm very similar. I'm very inflammatory. I'm just like fucking boom, hit the red button, nuke everything. Like and then on reflection, it was a real poor option.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly right. And I'm a fight or flight. I fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now particularly,
I fight much better now.
We will get to that because I sort of brushed over it quickly at the end of last week's episode. So you're on the plane. You go to LA. What's the plan? You meet up with old mate?
Yeah, I meet up with Kenny. So the whole thing was going to get the family to move over. So my second marriage at the time, and I had a 2.5-year-old daughter, and so we were all going to move to LA. So my wife at the time, she was an actress, and she still is an actress, and so she was going to do her acting thing over in LA. I was going to do this thing with Chrysalis and become a songwriter and do like kind of songwriting kind of team workshops over there. And so it was all looking really, really positive. And so I got an apartment, flew over in 2010, got there, set everything up. It was all great. Met because I had a crew over there already, like Aaron Lucy and Dan Mancini and Davey D. Davey D was like
Dan Mancini. I haven't heard that name in ages.
Yeah, he's the man.
Sick.
And so Davey D, who was also the manager of the Brian Jonestown massacre. So there was a good crew there. And sorry, my breathing's quite difficult from the weekend and from the sickness, but it's kind of...
You had massive chest infection right before you had to do all those gigs.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you need.
Totally.
Yeah. And then we'll smash you into an hour-long chat with us in a stuffy little box like this.
That's all good. Sorry. But yeah, if my breathing sounds a bit rapid, it's because of that. So I had this crew over there. I set up shop. It was all looking really, really good. And so on the day that my family were to come over, on their flights were booked and they were flying over, it was a grenade went off. It was, I can't really go into it, but my life changed dramatically for the worse that day, because no longer was my family coming over. They decided to stay in New Zealand, and my marriage and everything was over. So I had basically lost everything that I knew before was gone, and so now I'm stuck in LA.
All of your anchor points are gone.
All my anchors are gone. Yeah, so I was like adrift, and so I was in a state of absolute shock and misery. And then I had a very important meeting on the.
Was it the next day?
Yeah, the next day. So this
is the biggest musical meeting of your life. Was the next day, and everything fucking fell apart the day before.
Yeah. And so it was with Sony and Kenny McPherson and everyone. He was like, "This is the man." And I rang them up and I said, "I cannot come into this meeting. I'm sorry. I'm just completely devastated. My life is completely, it's just been turned over and destroyed." And so that meeting was cancelled. It was over and it never happened again. And but luckily, what they did do for me and Kenny managed to get done was get me my O1 visa, so I was able to get my artist visa and to be able to stay in LA and work as a musician and do other things.
So when you're staying in LA and doing the musical pieces, because it's a fascinating place with fascinating humans,
yes,
it's not always the easiest way to make money through music. So obviously there's a supplementary income level. What were you doing in and around LA to kind of keep the wolf from the door?
So I worked at first I started a job from another musician who gave me his pizza delivery job. So it was another...
Is it pizza delivery in inverted commas, or is it actual fucking pizza delivery?
Actually pizza delivery. It was totally pizza delivery. It was with a guy called, it was a Cheech's Pizza, and that was in Los Feliz. And he's an old school, I think he played for the Astros, I'm not too sure, but he was like a baseball player. And he was a lovely man. Like, he believed in all these kind of help kind of. He had all these quotes all over the shop, and he was awesome. So I got a job with him. I was delivering pizzas. That was kind of giving me a little bit of income, and also had some income coming back from New Zealand. And I mean, I went kind of off the rails because I had nothing kind of tying me down and nothing holding me back from just going berserk, because nothing I knew before was around anymore. So I just let it loose and started drinking heavily again. And
it's amazing how you, in those situations, how you gravitate towards those people out of a crowd that just have the same self-destructive tendencies, and you go, in a group of millions of people, fuck, I can pick the worst out of them in a second.
Yeah.
Walk into a room, spot the guy and go, that bloke's going to be partying with me in another 3 days. That person over there's going to be fucking loaded up to the gunnels as well. And you just pick them.
You do. And oddly enough, what you just mentioned, exactly what happened. So I also started playing at strip clubs. So there was a strip club called Cheetahs. No, not Cheetahs, sorry. The Cheetahs, the pizzeria. Cheetahs. So Cheetahs, which is also in the same area, so in Los Feliz. So Cheetahs is a strip club. But in LA, obviously no one gets naked. They're all wearing bikinis and stuff. So I got this gig, and Benoit was the manager of Cheetahs. And so we're playing there. I'm playing these really miserable songs, like sad songs. And the stripper's like walking out, turns back to me, goes, I've got to dance to this shit.
Fucking, can you play Genuine Pony or fucking Def Leppard Horse Sugar? Come on.
Sugar.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, sorry, babe, it's all I got.
Somewhere
all I got.
over a rainbow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why does it always rain?
Yeah. So, and then out of my corner of my eye, I could see this fellow at the bar, and long hair right down to his butt. And I'm like, hey, that guy looks like a nice fella. And afterwards, he was watching, and I went over to sit down next to him, and we became the closest friends, still are best friends, and his name's Huggy. So Huggy is a promoter, and also he was a pro skater as well in the past. And we just hit it off, and we were both heavy drinkers at the time. And suddenly he wanted to become my manager. And so then I started playing in more strip clubs across LA. So, yeah. So
what are you playing? Is it just you and a guitar, or are you...
I had a band at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like a 3-piece at a strip club?
Yeah, well, 1, 2, 3, 4-piece.
4-piece at a strippers.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's an out of it, what out of it gigs to do, like, repeatedly.
And there's nothing...
And the clientele and the weird shit that must go on. And
it was pretty crazy. So Benoit disappeared, actually. So the Armenian gangsters that lived upstairs from Cheetahs, they were in control of this whole kind of segment of strip clubs. Benoit was I think funneling money through the actual business. They were losing money. He was in trouble. He had a family. And then after his 30th birthday celebration, which we played at as well, which was a great night, they vanished. They just completely vanished. I think they bailed for Nevada, and that was it. I think because the Armenian Gangsters were after them, and he was like, "I'm done. I'm out. Safe's gone, emptied." Yeah.
Shit. Just
wow.
Yeah.
Did you see? I mean, because LA's a wild ass place, and when you're in those sub segments again, you would have seen some hectic shit.
I saw some pretty hectic shit. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I had a friend who picked me up from the airport when I'd turn up back from New Zealand. His name was Jamie, and I always felt like someone was watching us. And obviously he was a procurer of illicit substances and had his own kind of side hustle. But I always thought, fuck, is there someone watching us? And in the back of my mind, and so he dropped me off, and this is when I first got there, and he dropped me off, and so I've known him for a while now, and so the next day I called him, and he wasn't picking up, and then I called up his business partner, who's called Snake. Snake. So
From
I'm like,
the Simpsons character.
yeah. So Snake was like, "Oh man, now he's gone away," and I'm like, "What do you mean he's gone away?" I'm like, "No, he's gone away." I'm like, what does that even mean? So hung up, called another friend who knew him, and then I got told that the DEA had been following him for I think about 6 months.
Oh shit!
So the entire time the DEA was on his tail, and he kind of knew it, so he was prepping for it. So now, I think he's still in federal prison.
Still.
So what did he actually get done for? What was the charge in the end, and how long did he get put away for?
East Coast, West Coast, drug running.
And so,
Distro, 30
will he get
years.
out?
Pardon?
Will he get out?
Eventually, I'd say eventually, but it'd be a while. Yeah. So it was massive distribution kind of stuff. Yeah.
And funny how your spidey senses went off.
Oh, dude, I was I was kind of freaked out.
Full prickly, and then it happens the next day, probably after you got out of the car or whatever.
Yeah. And we were being followed for sure. So the DEA knew exactly where I was living, but obviously I wasn't a person of interest. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But had they held off for longer, you may have become
a person of interest. Yeah.
It's funny how life works out like that. What's let's go back to the gangsters. How did they operate? Were they?
Oh, the Armenian Gangsters?
Yeah, were they under the radar, or do you see them strong-arm people? Or
well, okay, stronger. Yeah, I did. So in East LA, so Little Armenia was like in East LA, and I lived in that kind of quadrant of LA, and Huggy as well. So Huggy knew them quite, like all those people very well. But mainly they would drive around in white Mercedes. So it was always a white Mercedes like that they drove around in, and they would strong-arm a lot of people. So when I also, after the pizzeria job, I worked for my cousin's pizzeria called Lucifer's. Have you heard of Lucifer's? So he's done very, very well over in LA. He's got lots and lots of branches of Lucifer's. And I was working for him after Chicha's. And then after I worked for Adam, I then got another job as a doorman, as a bouncer for a club called Harvard and Stone, which is like a hipster club.
Yeah, I've been there, and it's there was scaffolding all around the top, so there's like burlesque that goes on. So you'd be sitting there, be drinking piss, and there'll be like an amazing covers band, and then it stops, and then there's people like come flipping out of the scaffolding. Went there with Sid. It was sick. It was one of the coolest bar nights I've been to.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there was the guy on the door had like a big knife on his waist, and it just looked like a hectic setup. And
well, we had and we also had the in-ears and all the walkie-talkies, and also you couldn't work the door without having a guard card. So there was also a system where we can get our guard cards, and then you could carry a loaded weapon. And be able to point it at someone with impunity, like it wouldn't matter. So everyone was afraid that the doorman had weapons and guns on them.
that's so fucking weird for someone from New Zealand.
I know.
Who has not been around firearms. Like
Yeah.
when we chat to listeners or have stories from listeners from America, like that's just a really normal part of their life, having a handgun in the fucking glove box.
Yep.
But then you having to put one on your waist.
I know, it's just ridiculous. I didn't really like to carry any weapons because if you pull something out, someone could just use it on you. So
Yeah.
I tried to just use my kind of confidence to.
was it because it's chat more than anything, eh? Like on a door, it's just things can escalate pretty quickly. But everyone that's going to that bar is a certain type of person.
Yep.
I mean, it was weird when we were in the bar. It was like frat guys wearing Hawaiian shirts and fucking jandals and shit shorts and cargo pants, like going, "Yeah, bro, fucking give me another PBR." And then there was some. You can tell there's some clearly colourful characters in there, and then there's a full bike crew in there as well.
Yep.
But everyone just mixed. Like no one, there was not really. It was just a weird combination of people.
It was very eclectic, yeah. So, I mean, I started riding a motorbike as well quite early on because Huggy was into motorbikes. So I bought a motorbike and I started riding with Huggy and Chris Edwards. So we were all on that bikey kind of crew. And then one night at working on the door, I was there and these 4 Armenians came in and my boss was like, "No, they can't come in." And I said, "Okay, guys can't come in." So they walked away. And then I'm still standing there at the door waiting, and then they all 4 of them come back, and then 2 grab me on this arm, 2 grab me on this arm, and they just try and drag me out onto the street because to get away from the camera, to obviously, I don't know, to fuck me up. And I'm just in my mind, I go, "What can I do here?" And I said, "Okay, guys, okay, I get you. There's 4 of you, but 2 of you are going to lose eyes and going to get severely fucked up, okay? I don't give a fuck. I'm going to fuck 2 of you up real good." And using all my confidence and bravado, and instantly they just let go and they were like, "Okay, man, sorry, man," and they walked away.
I don't want to be the. I got a 50-50 chance of losing my eyes here.
Yeah, and I was just being completely overly confident and obviously quite boozed. And then they came back and apologized, which was remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah, really remarkable. So, I mean...
Because that could have gone one or two ways. Either they come back and apologise or they come back with more people.
And shot me,
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very, very lucky. There was also another incident where there were two gangsters, I think they were Mexican gangsters, and they really wanted to mess up my other doorman. And he walked back inside, and they came up to me, and they said, "We want that guy." I said, "Well, you can't get that guy. You got to go through me." And they're like, "Well, we don't want to go through you because you look like you can dance." I'm like, little did they know I don't know how to dance at all.
No idea.
So and they just backed off again. It was So I mean, and I think the point of it and the key for me was I had nothing to lose. My self-preservation and my own kind of health was I did not care. I did not care about living or dying anymore because living in LA at that time was just, for me, I was happy to wake up the next day. So yeah.
Hello, Legend. We're just pausing the podcast for a moment to let you know that we have some great news.
Yes, Uber One is paying you to be a member.
Yep, if you're new to Uber One, you'll get $10 of Uber cash back each month you remain a member until the end of the year.
You'll also get access to loads of other additional savings and perks across Uber and Uber Eats, like a 5% Uber credit on all rides or $0 delivery fees on eligible orders.
How good. Sign up to Uber One for $9.99 a month and it will basically pay for itself. Ends 31st of December. T's and C's, minimum spend and fees apply.
Was there no desire to go, okay, cool, LA's not going to work. I've missed this meeting. Maybe it's time for me to pack it in over here and head home. Or you're like, this is part of the plan. This has always been the plan. I need to be here.
Well, yeah, because when I met Huggy and I fell into this crew, it was like, no, I found my people, and I just felt like it was home for me now, and I was kind of forced into this kind of position, and I was too stubborn to give it up, way too stubborn. So I just kept it going.
Because how long was that stint up in LA?
About 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
And in the space of 3 years, how bad did it get?
It got pretty bad. Yeah, very, very bad. Very bad, very quickly.
Are you still using heroin at this point?
No.
So just alcohol.
It was uppers,
and then
uppers, downers, sidewinders, like whatever I could get my hands on, but no heroin, no.
Yeah, and then so rolling with the colourful characters.
Yeah.
Is there any situations where you were like, apart from that one there, where you got dragged out in the street, where you thought like, fuck, I've done myself a mischief. I probably haven't made the right call here.
I had a couple of motorcycle accidents.
Woo!
That was fun.
Here we go.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So I was leaving the nightclub, going out onto Hollywood Boulevard, going bop, 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 and then suddenly just spun it. Cop cars drove past, spun it, dropped the bike. Huggy's running out going, "You fucking idiot!" Help me get the bike up, because we were only like around the corner. Why was I riding the motorbike? So I dropped it. He helped it up. Then I walked it back home. Anyway, there's that moment. There was another moment where I was flatting with a guy that was he was kind of connected to the MS-13. Is that yeah? So he was dealing cocaine for them. He was living with me.
For those that don't know, it's like a South American gang which is prolific to the point where they have their own prisons that just has MS-13 members in it, because if any other person goes in there, it's like throwing them into a blender.
Yeah. So that was a fun time for me. So he was living with me, with his partner, and I mean they would fight all the time, and there were holes in the wall, and obviously I was the one with the bond, which was great. So he was dealing a lot of cocaine, always had cocaine everywhere, and so he was very volatile. So he would come to Harvard and Stone, obviously get him because I was on the door, and everyone knew him. And so we're at the back, in the back room where there's a smoking room, and he always carried his blade and a gun, and he was out the back, and he was having this kind of discussion with some punter, and one of the drinkers of the bar, and then they got into a fight, and then he pulled out his knife and then put it up to the guy's stomach. So I got the guy out of the way, walked in front of the knife, and again, me being very I just did not care about living or dying at the time. And I said, "Look, dude, if you're going to stab anyone, stab me right now." And we were close friends. I said, "I want you to stab me. If you feel like you want to stab anyone, stab me." And he was like, "No, man, I'm not going to stab you." I said, "Just do it." He was like, Why? And I was like, "Just do it. If you want to stab him, just stab me." And he didn't stab me. And then I took him out, and that was that.
That's a real good indication of where your head was at.
Yeah.
Like, that is the fucking outrageous thing to say for somebody that's like they're in a good space.
Yeah.
Like you're not in a good space, and that was just like fucking just flopped out of your mouth.
Yeah, I was not in a good space. No.
So what's the just been LA? Did you bump into any celebrities over there?
Oh yeah. So yep. So
it's a popular bar.
it is a very popular bar. So I ID'd Brad Pitt. That was.
Did you say not tonight, brother? It's the shoes.
I didn't even recognize him, man. Like, so I didn't recognize him. So I ID'd him, and then I was like, oh, it's Brad Pitt. Okay, cool. You can go in, man. So
What a weird lot. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Daft Punk. I made Daft Punk wait in line because who knows what they look like. I didn't know what they look like. So then my boss comes like, "What are you doing? You got them waiting in line." I'm like, I had no idea.
Used to the helmets. They're not
Yeah.
wearing fucking helmets.
Yeah. So that happened, and then also had a great conversation with Joaquin Phoenix about digital versus analog music. After we closed the bar down, not closed down, but it was closing for the evening, and we're out the front talking. My boss was there, and we're smoking, and then we had this great chat. And then he walks off, and then my boss was like, "You know who that was, eh?" I'm like, "No." And he goes, "That's Joaquin Phoenix." I'm like, "Oh wow, awesome! What a nice guy. That's a great guy." So, and then I also had to.
They must find that super refreshing, Americans, when Kiwis just like, oh, give a fuck, he's just a normal person.
Yeah.
Because that's not how Americans treat celebrities.
No. But then also, what's her name? Lindsay Lohan. She had to get taken out. Some guy got bottled in the face and his lip was hanging off, and so she had to get taken out. So I went in to the bar and actually lifted her up, took her outside, and put her into her car, that's biggest claim to fame for me. And then the other one was
like a bulldozer in the bucket. Ooh, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Home time.
Just like Bodyguard, Kevin Costner style.
And then the other one was Greg Dully from Afghan Wigs, who I love very much. So he was at a little acoustic show out in West Hollywood, and my band at the time was called Milan and the Communist Party, which was winning, really trying to fucking get popular in America there. And so I played. And I was talking to Greg Dully, and he goes, "So what's the name of your band, man?" And I'm like, "Oh, Milan and the Communist Party." And he was like, "Oh, so you really want to make it big in America, then, eh?" I was like, "Yeah, precisely."
It's so good.
It was Phoebe Falconer was DJing. That's how we ended up there. That was the connection. I was
Yep,
trying to figure
Phoebe
out
was
why
there.
the fuck why did we end up in that bar?
And Dan also DJ'd there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. And that would have been the crew that we were there with that night. I walked in, and it's just like kind of a modern day Moulin Rouge. It was weird. There's
It's
a guy with
crazy,
a
yeah.
massive long grey beard who was playing covers, like rock covers, and he was crushing it. Full
Yep.
band.
Oh, they had a great house band, man.
Yeah.
Very, very good house band. And as the bouncer, you'd also take turns of going in there to looking after the girls. So you'd stand there in the bar and protect the girls from being touched by any of the punters. So that was also quite a lot of fun. But yeah, so I mean, I met a lot of crazy people. One of the craziest people I ever met, and I'll go into this just briefly, was there's a guy called Kazim the Dream. You can look him up. He was a boxer. So he was a former Ugandan child soldier. And I just watched the documentary about 2 or 3 times, and I was fascinated by the story about his life story. So his parents were killed in front of him. I think he was about 11 or 12, and then he was taken into the Ugandan kind of child soldier kind of whatever you want to call it. So they basically hooked on drugs, killing people, doing very bad stuff. And then he escaped that, went to I think an American kind of camp and became a boxer, and then realized that he was quite good at boxing, and then he got taken to America and started boxing in America. So I watched this documentary, and it was fascinating. And then I'm there standing outside of Harvard and Stone, and it was a rainy day. We had a tarpaulin out there, and I'm just waiting. It's not very busy. And then walking in, it's like, I'm going, no way. And I'm like, Kazim the Dream. And he's like, you know me? And I'm like, yeah, man, fuck, you're amazing. I love your story. And he goes,
Massive in New Zealand.
yeah, massive. Yeah. And he was like, oh my God, come and have a drink with me. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I go and have a drink with him. And then a friendship ensued from there with him, which was very complicated to say the least, because I mean, I kind of brought him into that inner circle, and everyone was afraid of him because he was a scary fella. and he'd been through a lot. And for about 2 weeks, we got really close, drank a lot together, partied a lot. Everyone was like around him. And one of the bass player for the house band, we were going to an after night kind of after hours thing because everything closes at about 2. So we're going to this Thai bar where they have gambling and poker and stuff like that, and it's illegal gambling and rah, rah, rah. And everyone's getting into cabs, and Dave's like, is it okay to get him on cab with this guy Kazim, man? Am I going to be okay? I'm like, yeah, man, he'll be fine. He'll be safe as houses. And little did I know that it was very, very unsafe. Like nothing happened at that particular time, but months and months later, after I left LA, I found out that he went to jail for basically nearly killing someone in an apartment. Yeah. So, dude, so I was like playing. I was dancing with the devil, and he, I mean, I found it fascinating. I found him interesting. And then one night when he told me the story, I won't go into what he actually told me because it's just...
It could be fucking chilling, eh?
It was, if you can imagine the worst thing imaginable in your mind of what he told me, triple it, because it was frightening.
And because what age is that? Do you remember, like, it was something like those kids are like between 9 and 13 or something, eh?
Yep, and they're doing stuff that you just can't even imagine. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it because it's just too much. Like, the shit he was telling me was fucking diabolical, man.
You can't unhear that either, can you?
Well, no, and you can't undo that as a kid when you're not the one that's in control of it, which is why it's such a tragedy.
Yeah. So, what was the 3 years is up? What's the trigger point for being like, fuck, I'm going to get on the big bird, head back home because this is getting out of hand?
At the time, so after about I think about a year, Kate and my partner and my daughter came over to LA, and so we kind of started living together again for a bit, and then they decided they wanted to go back home, and I was experiencing this kind of sort of like semi kind of family life with them, and I felt good again, and then they were like, we're going. You can either come or you can stay, but we're not coming back. And that was the trigger point for me. I was like, you know what, I actually would like to have a relationship with my daughter and stay with my daughter. So I decided to come back home.
And is this a clean-up moment for you? Are you running, what's the sort of cut of what's going through the carcass at this stage?
Right. Yeah, this is a big clean-up. Mainly it was booze. I was drinking far too much booze. Obviously there were, like I said, uppers, downers, sidewinders, all that kind of stuff. But so I needed to clean up. So they left, and then I was there for about 3 months trying to close up shop. And so I was doing that, taking it to another level again, and then
it's when you go, well, there's only 3 months left. Oh, fuck, there's a bit of juice left in
all
this
out of
lemon.
the
Let's
system.
go, baby.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. And I mean, Jumbo's Clown Room was right next door to Harvard and Stone as well, so I used to frequent there a lot, and all the doormen knew each other. So yeah, so I just went on a tear, and for about 3 months, and then eventually made it back home, and I wasn't looking great. Like I wasn't in my best state, to be fair. But I made it through, and then got back and got healthy, and got my daughter back in my life.
At what point were you rolling over there? Were you doing jits in LA, or was that something that you pretty much picked up when you got back? Is that just a more of a recent thing?
That was when I got back. I did start in LA. I wanted to learn something because of obviously those incidents that happened at the door. I wanted to know actually how to handle myself, but I didn't go deep into it. But then I was very like enamored by the whole jiu-jitsu scene, and then I moved back to New Zealand, and then that's when I properly started jiu-jitsu. Yes.
Do you think you got a black belt almost as fast as you can if you were training 3 times a day, 7 days a week, which is what you mentioned last week? Like, that must have been extremely fast compared to most people.
It was quicker than most, but like a lot of people that obviously compete a lot or do other things like MMA, they can get it within about if you're a prodigy, you can get it within about 3 years, 3.5 years. So mine was about 7 to 8 years.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, which is still quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, real. But and from easily one of the best gyms.
Oh,
in
100%,
NZ,
yeah.
And one of the best
yeah.
blokes too.
Yeah.
Pedro.
Pedro's the best.
Absolute weapon. And now, is it so? Now that we're probably bringing it a little bit closer, you have the thought process of setting up your own gym. You meet a special lady.
Yep. So as a blue belt, I was. So my father was quite sick. He had been. This is the other thing that was kind of like a side story, which was like happening at the time. My dad had been sick for about 10 years with cancer. And so that was another reason why I wanted to come back home, because I wanted to be by his side because the cancer was getting bad. So I came back and was with my dad, and my dad was getting even sicker. So he watched some of my white belt competitions in New Zealand, and I was doing pretty good as a white belt. I was winning national titles and stuff like that, and it was I mean, I was impressed with myself, and so I thought, awesome, I'm going to go and take this to the World Masters in 2018. So
sick.
Yeah, so I just got my blue belt, and I went over to compete at the World Masters, and it didn't go as well as I wanted it to go, but I really wanted to go better than it did, but it didn't. But that's okay. It was a good experience. And then came back, and I came back to my dad, and my dad then passed, and so for me, everything kind of changed again, and I was in a position. I mean, I'd been dating people in LA and around that was just an undesirable kind of, desirable like physically, but mentally not desirable. And then, so I was over girls, not into it. And it's always at a time when you think, I'm done. I'm never again. Never am I going to go and find a relationship. I'm going to be single for the rest of my life.
It's one of those things. When you are out looking for it, it's like you just reek
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's the second you're like, fuck it, it's like that's when the divine intervention comes in.
Yeah.
But it's such a hard thing to explain to somebody that's trying to find something meaningful in a relationship. And you're just pushing it too hard, and you're like, fuck it. As soon as you wrap, I did the same thing. Parked up, it was like, done, misses.
It's crazy, yeah.
Same.
It's so crazy,
Exact
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
I've been in a relationship for like 5 years. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have a fucking couple of years. I'll see, fucking...
Just laying some pipe, classic.
And I hadn't really had any downtime in between relationships. I was like, I'm just going to leave it for like a couple and have absolute fun. And it lasted like 4 months.
Yeah.
And now...
First night out.
Dixie's-
Grumpy mole.
Dixie's
Noticed
my
her on
wife.
the dance floor. A couple of QFs at the bar.
So how did it come about?
Oh, so it was a Christmas party, actually. So I was out, I think I was at Madame George's, and Matt Heath was there with someone else, and I saw them, and I was like, hey guys, what are you guys doing? And we're going to a Christmas party. And I'm like, oh, okay. Do you guys want to come? It was, no, do you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll come to the Christmas party. Went to the Christmas party, and lo and behold, there was my future wife, Sarah, just standing there, and I thought she was Canadian because she just got back from New York. And I'm like, oh, are you from Canada? And she's like, no, I'm not from Canada. And she didn't like me from the get-go because I was like, she's like, where are you from? I said, I'm South Auckland. And she's like, whatever. Fucking dick. And so, but then we just didn't stop talking for the entire night. So we spoke for probably about, close to 9 hours straight.
Wow.
Yeah. Just sitting there talking, and that was it. The rest is history. So yeah, we started dating, and now we're married, and we've got a 3-year-old.
So cool.
Yeah.
So that's what happens, eh? She'd always say no to Christmas parties.
Totally.
How cool, though. And once again, another stabilising factor
Yep.
in your life, and sort of a bit more of a North Star, and probably an easier set on the moral compass, and something to, breathe a bit of, like, not life, but sort of a little bit more meaning back into what it is you're trying to achieve.
She was exactly what I needed at that point in my life, and I appreciate her, and love her so much, because she's done everything for me, put me on the right path, and motivated me to actually start like moving forward again. And because in LA I didn't want to do music anymore. I thought music is done. I want to quit. I mean, it's very hard to quit something that's so ingrained in your DNA. But I didn't want to do it anymore. And so Sarah has been this motivating factor in my life that I just appreciate. Love her.
And now we're back into the music. There were the reason why we got you in the first place, which was meant to be for a musical chat, but then we just went through and fucking decided to unpack your entire life, rightly or wrongly. The excitement, obviously, we had the catch up last week, put up, the gig that's coming, and it just picked the scab off a whole bunch of people that are like. So now there's a pre-party that's being planned before the gig on November 8th, which is pretty exciting.
Am I invited?
Yeah, it's a Christmas party. You should come. Woo! All right. It's awesome because I don't think for a lot of people they realise the elapsing of time which has been between the release of the album and where we are now. Because for most people, I think if you are to go back and go, that was 20 years ago, they're like, fuck off. It's like, well, actually, it was 20 years ago because your kids are now going to uni and you didn't have kids then. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah, realization.
Which is a wild thing, but it is nice to kind of not necessarily try and rehash and relive our youth. Although, that being said, I'd say the vim and vigor in which we brought to it 20 years ago will be there and on the night.
Absolutely.
Is the band back together, practicing?
Yep.
You've been flogged with a bunch of other sort of side projects as well.
Yep.
But does it feel nice? Is enough water's run under the bridge? Everyone's kind of moved on. The apologies have been made. The sincerity is there.
Yep.
And the collectiveness is back on track.
Yeah, our relationships are closer than ever now. Like, especially my relationships with like Mike and Matthias. Like, it's just stronger than ever, and we play a lot together at the moment. So I mean, I just love playing with my brothers, and we all enjoy getting out there and making music again because it's been so long, and that it's just a joy to do it. It's just an absolute joy. So yeah, we love it.
Do you think you guys will record another album?
That's a good question. We've been recording like singles here and there. So and we did the fourth record. The fourth record got found, by the way. We found.
Shit!
Yeah, we found the fourth record, and then kind of
had a whole bunch of Bitcoin on it as well, which is now going to be funding.
Exactly. But yeah, so we found that fourth record, recorded a few additional parts to it and a few songs to it, and then released it. So that was the fourth record. It was like IV. We called it IV. So yeah, that was released 2019, I think. So yeah, so we've done that, and then we've got a few singles that have been coming out. An album is in the pipeline, excuse the pun, but but we'll see how it all rolls out.
If you were hypothetical situation, you bump into your 14-year-old self, what words of wisdom would you impart on them? Having looked back on the journey you've done, and the wisdom you've gained throughout the years, and all the different experiences that we talked about over the last 2 hours.
I would say keep moving forward. Don't ever think that everyone's out there to get you or they're against you. It's actually probably more inside your own head. Move forward, keep believing in yourself, and don't regret a thing.
And also as well, probably worth pointing out, because we did touch heavily on your heroin addiction in the first hour of the chat. What about anybody that's heard that part of it, but are in the midst of some sort of addiction? It doesn't necessarily need to be heroin, could be anything. Because
how do you manage to shake that? Was there a program that you went through? Because there's a lot of people that will be sitting there on tenterhooks when you go, I don't know, this is how I think about it anyway. When you go, oh man, I was heavily drinking, I'm like, how many fucking beers are you drinking here? What are we talking about? Because it's a yardstick. Yeah, either you're going to feel good about yourself or bad about yourself. So you go, oh mate, I was getting up and I was drinking a bottle of vodka before 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I'm fucking sweet ass. Woo! Shit, that was close. Yeah.
So we're talking about how I got off the heroin?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to CADS, so I got on the methadone program, which is, far worse than heroin. It's radioactive shit. But I was on the methadone program for quite some years, and then I didn't think I was ever going to get off the methadone program. I thought, this is okay. I think I can deal with this. I think I'm going to sit here for the rest of my life. And this is before children came into the picture. So I didn't think I was going to ever have children. And then one day I was like, I think I was going to get my methadone from a pharmacy, and the kind of epiphany for me was this pharmacist was like, "Are you Tony Borich's son?" And because my dad was a pharmacist, and I'm like, "Yes, I am Tony Borich's son." He goes, "Oh, he's a lovely man, isn't he? So, how did you end up here, Milan?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. And so I went home. I'm like, I'm done. I think I'm done. The shame and the remorse and the kind of this, I felt like I just brought this darkness onto my family and to my dad. So I decided I was going to wean myself off methadone, and I did it all on my own. I just said to the pharmacist, I said, I want to come off 1 mg a week, and I came off 1 mg a week until I got down to 1 mg at the end, and then I went on to Spoxin, and then came off methadone. And it was a struggle, but I did it.
So what is the process for those that are unfamiliar with the methadone program? Because most people wouldn't even be familiar with the process of actually shooting heroin, and then how you go through. Having watched somebody in the passenger seat next to me in my car while I'm driving to pick up a motorbike, stop over and make up a batch and have a blast, and it was enough probably to take out a fucking busload of humans. He just kicked the seat back. He's like, I'm going to need about 5 minutes.
And nods off.
And then he just goes, when I'm back, what are you boys? Let's see what we're going to be. Yeah. It's a crazy setup to watch.
It is, yeah. It's a ritual, and you know, and some people get really hooked on that ritual as well. So I mean, that's part of it. But what was the question again?
What is the process? Is that
of reversing like methadone? Like, what does it do? And then also, I guess it'd be good to know what it's like coming off it, because I've heard that it's a real bastard.
It's worse than heroin. Yeah, it's way worse than heroin. But weaning yourself off it made it less of an impact at the end when I went cold turkey after taking out the last mg of methadone. But the process is you go to CADS, you get tested to see how much heroin is in your system, and if you qualify to get onto the program. So you have to have a certain amount of heroin, residual heroin in your system to qualify to get on the program for methadone, which is very bizarre. But yeah, so then I qualified, obviously, and then I started the program. But it's a liquid, and so you go into the pharmacy in the morning and you drink your liquid, and I would drink my dose, and they would work out the dose from how much heroin you had in your system and how much you were actually consuming. And then and it wasn't working for me because I would take my dose and then I would be jonesing by the end of the day, like struggling and kind of, you know, having the chills and the shakes. And it was because my metabolism was so high and ran so fast that I had to have multiple doses. So then they changed it up. So I'd have the morning dose and then a takeaway dose. And so that's how it works. So it's all drinking. I mean, some people would shoot it up, not me. I destroyed my teeth. So, and methadone destroys your teeth. So yeah. So it's a bottle of liquid. Drink it, tastes awful, and then you take away your takeaways and drink that and sleep and then come back the next day.
And can you are you having a normal life while you're doing this, or does everything stop when you start weaning yourself off it? Because I'd imagine it'd be pretty hard to function.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to function on it as well. Like it's a very all-encompassing drug. I mean, heroin is as well, but methadone is just so intense that you just become a zombie. Like you just have nothing other than the desire to lay in bed and do jack shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It sounds like it'd almost be better for, I don't know, government issued heroin to wean you off like a measured dose of that than what it would be coming off the methadone.
Yeah, I think Portugal's got it right. Yeah.
Yeah,
they do that. They have medical grade heroin for addicts, and it's working. And I think drug use has gone down, crime's gone down. It's a pretty good system over there, I think. But yeah, I believe that to be true too.
And we'll touch back on it. I touched on it before, but word of advice for anybody battling with addiction at the moment?
Yeah. So go talk to the people that you love and the ones that love you, and try and actually work out a way to get through it. Like find the support system out there. There's always a support system, and use it. Use the people that you love, use that support, and just try to make good out of a bad situation, because I'm telling you, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and you can make it through. I mean, it feels like there's no like light in sight, but there always is. So I just recommend that you go and find those support systems.
Mate, we were really looking forward to it, and you did not disappoint in the slightest, exceeding all expectations as always. Thank you so much, man, for coming in, and looking forward to the gig at on November 8th at Double Whammy, if you're lucky enough to be around. And then obviously the Pipeline re-released double vinyl, available now, actually,
Yep.
I was told.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so grab for those people that are listening internationally too that wanted to catch it up, we've got all the links in the podcast description below, so check them out and enjoy. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Jay and Dunc's Not For Radio podcast. Thanks for listening. I hope to see you soon.
And just like that, it is the end of our chat with Milan. That delivered, 100% delivered. I'm super pumped. So a couple of ways for you to win the records. We'll do one. Actually, no, let's just do, how many did you say? You said a couple,
Yeah.
on the way out. Okay, sweet. We'll just do them on the post. That you see any content of Milan go up on the Not For Radio social media accounts.
Yeah.
Just get them behind it and comment, and we could be sending you out the limited edition record.
Yeah, and it's a great
Re-release.
album too. If you haven't already heard it, the link to where you can listen to Pluto's music will be in the description below. And then the album in particular, it was iconic. It was a seminal album for me when I moved to the big smoke of Auckland.
Yeah.
I used to play at this bar called 420 and Rising Sun. Them along with Motorcade, another incredible New Zealand band, well worth a check out. Just a great bunch of artists. The early version of the Checks. Kosher Cot Honeys was another band that would play there as well. It was a great musical scene then, and as you can tell, we're massive fans of them and looking forward to the gig. It's going to be a rip snorter.
Bloody special stuff. Not For Radio, of course, back tomorrow for another edition. And once again, thank you to our mates at Jim Beam. They embody over 230 years of tradition, making every sip a taste of history. Good on you guys, and cheers to the support. And we will catch you with another Not For Radio tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Go well, go long,
And up the
wires.
wires.